Hi guys, I'm Mike.
And I'm Stephen.
And this is F1 Fanatics. Welcome back to the F1 podcast. The F1 podcast. The F1 podcast.
The F1 podcast.
F1 podcast.
The F1 podcast.
The podcast about Formula One that is the F1
The
podcast.
F1 podcast.
With me, Mike.
And me, the F1 podcast.
No, Stephen.
Sorry, Stephen.
This is the F1
This
podcast.
is the F1 I'm Stephen. You're Mike. This is the F1
We've made it. We've got it. We're here. We're here for you, basically. Me and Stephen just sit down and chat about F1 for whatever's relevant for the week. So, obviously, what's relevant this week is the Imola GP. So, we're going to talk about that race. Obviously, we're back with the return of Jonty's question. Bam, 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 bam. Great question.
Yep.
This week. So,
Nice.
I look forward to doing that. A question that I picked up from Rox that was posted to agree or disagree. And I think it'll be quite interesting to have a discussion. I'll talk into a little bit something Tom F1 said as well. And then the futures of Lewis, Toto and George.
Yes.
Lewis, Toto, George.
Lewis, Toto, George.
Lewis,
Toto, George.
yeah, there we go. That was good. You were quick. I just went, look. Anyway, Imola, enjoy it?
Not really.
I'm
going to be honest. I loved lap 28 with Magson fighting about 4 cars in that house. But other than that, the virtual safety car kind of killed the battle for the lead. I know Lewis probably would have come out ahead and would have had full advantage. But still, he kind of robbed us of any battle for it. And then, so no battle for the lead. Questionable strategy calls.
Chico.
George nightmares.
Give me my point.
It was an enjoyable end. It's a great track, and the drivers clearly love racing there. Driving there. But the racing, it just seems so difficult. It really seems so difficult. Unless there was a much slower car that could, like Kevin Magnussen, what made those few laps great was they were all much faster than the house, so they all could get past. But then Kevin Magnussen was properly racing them. But then for the midfield, they're all so evenly matched that they can't fight each other.
Pretty much, yeah.
So other than Kvyat making a flying safety car restart, it kind of lacked action everywhere.
Even when DRS struggles for overtaking.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's the issue with the size of the cars.
Yeah.
Because it's a narrow circuit anyway.
Mm.
So therefore, big cars on a narrow circuit with cars that are notoriously difficult to follow in and overtake in. I mean, Lewis Hamilton was even going, this is so difficult to follow here, man.
Yeah.
With knowing how good he's been in that Mercedes all year and couldn't get close to Max Verstappen.
No, it's just Max trying to get
On the
past
first
Bottas with Bottas's damage.
Yeah. That sums it up, doesn't it? So it just shows because they couldn't, otherwise they would just completely burn up and kill their tyres.
Yeah, exactly.
Which then is a whole other issue. And you could say, ooh, but then that's the skill of it. To an extent, but they've got to have a chance.
I'd rather see on-track action compared to masterful skill of tyres.
Yeah.
Like we got
as much as masterful kind of skill with tyres is really impressive, and it's an underrated skill, and it shouldn't be a skill that goes, it's not the one that's going to sell the sport. Come to F1 and watch drivers go slightly further on tyres than another driver. It's the excitement that you've been waiting for, and you've been waiting for, and I've been waiting for, and you've been waiting for. Waiting for that action. F1.
Nice.
Do you think I sold it?
Yeah, I think he sold it.
Okay. But that's essentially what F1 is at the moment. Battle of the tyres. But Lewis has learned that trait, to be fair.
Yeah.
To him. But yeah,
that's how we won the race.
It's not an exciting trait to sell. On-track action like lap 28.
Like lap 28.
Lap 28. Should we talk about lap 28? It was brilliant. It was brilliant because Kevin Magnussen was fighting, just so hard. And not even for position. I think just maybe to go, this is my chance to show someone that I'm still worth being in F1. And if I was looking at that, I would go, hell yeah. But
Magnussen for the Red Bull seat. What?
Whoa. I actually think he'd be probably pretty good in it. But
yeah, his name's on the hat. So
but
probably isn't going to get it.
He's not popular.
No.
He's one of those ones where his face doesn't fit for some reason, which is unfortunate. IndyCar beckons, I reckon, for Kevin Magnussen.
But yes, basically what happened, if you do not remember the mighty lap 28, you had Daniel Ricciardo, Charles Leclerc flying, well, both attacking Magnussen, going 2x2 at Imola. Like you said, it was a narrow circuit, but they'll go 2x2 at some parts. It was great. It was defending, helpless in that house, which looked like it was the slowest race car out there. And then he also fended off Albon and Kvyat attacking him. It was great.
And genuinely fended them off because they had to wait until he pitted before they got past him.
Exactly.
So it was superb to watch, and it was the highlight of the race.
Yeah.
The safety car restart at the end was also positive, especially with Daniel Kvyat.
Yeah.
That was pretty impressive. He made some good moves, and Sergio Perez made a great move on Albon before he'd spinaled.
Yep.
Those were probably the two main highlights of the race, and Lewis again just impressive. And that's probably what's so impressive about Lewis, and why we always go with him. That even if the cars were closer together, I think he would still have the edge of opponents, because even when he's having an off day, things didn't go right for him. Dropped to third, was struggling, somehow finds a way to win.
Yeah.
Like, even as far as probably 15 laps in, Lewis wouldn't have been the favourite to win.
No.
But he finds a way to win, even on a bad day. And it wasn't necessarily a bad day because Hamilton came in and, he took advantage of that. But it was a poor start and he couldn't keep up with Max.
Yeah.
Because of the difficulty of following and everything there. But that... Give for that. Do we lay into Racing Point now?
Yeah, okay. Screw you, Racing Point.
Now, I went a little bit conspiracy theory in terms of that Racing Point was sabotaging Sergio Perez deliberately. Probably, most likely is not the case, but we all know how political and appearance-based F1 is.
Yeah.
Lance Stroll hasn't had a great 4 races, like we said in driver ratings. Sochi not his fault. Missed with coronavirus the Nürburgring, and since then he's looked pretty shaky. It takes a couple of weekends, couple of races to kind of get back into the swing of things for Lance. So we'll see how he ends and tails off the season. But Checo, in that time, has been on a performance after performance, just absolutely killing it.
Yeah.
And,
he's been best of the rest.
Yeah. And the previous weekend in Portimao got screwed over on tyre decisions, putting him onto the softs that let him lose 5th to go down to 7th at the end. And this one, like race 1 at Austria, was criminal, I would say, in the way that it just completely sabotaged his race. Everyone was pitted in Austria race 1 and left him on hard tyres. And this one, nobody pitted. And they pitted him. And the thing is, it's not like everyone's going, but, if he didn't pit, the others would have pit. Would they? Would they have pitted? Daniel Kvyat did, because he had nothing left to lose.
Yeah.
and he was going further back, and it was difficult to overtake, and it was a hell of a drive from Kvyat at the end to kind of get past faces. And you could say, oh, well, if Kvyat did it, then maybe Perez should have done it. Well, potentially, but he had fresher tyres than all the rest anyway. Kvyat still wasn't able to get past Daniel Ricciardo with how well he drove to get into the podium position himself. And he was only one car further back from Perez, but that was basically null and void because he took Perez immediately.
Yeah.
So that's kind of irrelevant on that aspect of things. So it just made no sense. There were no positives to this decision. I think you said it in driver ratings. It was clear all race that track position was more important than being on a fresher compound.
Yeah, exactly.
And the only reason that someone like the Kimmis, the Perezes, and the Hamiltons stayed out longer on their first stints was so that they would improve track position.
Yeah, they're clean air.
By pitting at him at that point, all he would do is lose track position. And even if they pitted for fresh tyres, he would have been able to pit the next lap without losing any track position.
Yeah.
So it just made no sense, and it feels really tough for Checo. Checo is one of those guys who he isn't quite an elite driver, but he's very good, and he definitely adds to everyone. He's a fantastic driver. He had a fantastic start to his career in the Sauber, joined McLaren at the wrong stage, difficult, and due to kind of McLaren's time at that time, very poor driver management in terms of Perez in, out, Magnussen in, out, Alonso in, and just went all over the place with that. Did his hard work at Force India / Racing Point / would have been Aston Martin, gets kicked out, gets treated crap this season by them on track, consistently the team letting him down on performance and stopping him from getting, he should have at least had 2 podiums this season.
Yeah.
At least in this aspect.
And he even got unlucky with the Mugello one.
Yeah.
Because the safety car saved Daniel Ricciardo for that race. So yeah, about 3 or 4, you could even argue. Yeah. So to have 0 podiums at this stage, and it may be irrelevant, but it's something nice for a driver of Checo's ability and a reflection of the teams that he's been in and how good a driver he's been to achieve podiums in those teams. It just feels he's robbed, and he's stuck by the team in injury. The consummate professional, I don't know, maybe he needs to be more of a dick and fight his corner. Yeah, but again, that doesn't look very good of a new team, does it?
No.
Well, if we do something bad, he's going to chuck us under the bus.
Yeah.
So he's got to keep that professional.
Yeah, it is true, but it's so tough. But at the end of the day, he's done everything being a consummate professional and still finds his self on the eve of being kicked out of the sport. Yeah.
Got to think. It's just that Red Bull seat. He should be favourite for it, but then Hülkenberg has the whole... He's friends of Max. He probably will be a happy second driver. There's this... The harmony versus the performance.
Yeah, there's this aurora, isn't it? Perez would, to me, be a lot more Mark Webber than... I don't know. He would be a Mark Webber in the relationship rather than an Albon or a Gasly who is subservient type of thing. If that makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
So,
kind of.
Look, Max is the Sebastian Vettel of the time in the early 2010s. Checo would be the Mark Webber. Because everyone forget, Mark Webber was a talented driver, but he wasn't elite level.
Yeah.
He wasn't top tier. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying where Perez is.
Yeah.
But he also wasn't prepared to just take it laying down.
Yeah.
And Checo would most likely do that. And I think Checo gets like a bad reputation, like colliding with teammates. I think he did a little bit in 2013 with Button, but he was still very young into the sport then. And then the Ocon thing. And I was like, well, Ocon and Perez were like half a dozen of the other. I think
Ocon does wind up people.
Yeah. For whatever reason, he really gets underneath skin. And Perez has been pretty kind of happy with all teammates, apart from Ocon.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure he seems a lovely bloke. And when he was interviewed in one of the kind of Instagram live streams by Will Buxton over the coronavirus break, like, he spoke positively about all his teammates and missed Ocon. So that pretty much says there's something there. And people go, well, it's because it was pushed. I'm like, maybe. Or maybe, it was just some things in relationships just push it. Prost and Senna.
Yeah.
The Imola, funnily enough. At Imola.
The rivalry. Prost and Senna.
Ocon versus Perez. It's the same. It's the same. I was just doing that because that's the easiest one that comes to mind. And it was a nice link to Imola. Everything makes sense. It's in the circle of F1. The circle of F1 life. Oh,
Check
God, I'm
off.
clutching it.
I can see the documentaries already.
I mean, unbelievable.
F1's greatest rivalry.
Drive to
since Prost and
Survive
Senna.
are stealing these storylines right now. I expect to see it in Drive to Survive Season 3. Checo and Ocon reliving the rivalry that echoed Prost versus Senna. One was the ultimate prize, the FIA World Championship. The other, pride in the team and slightly higher up in the F1 standings. Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
What a story that. I'd watch that.
I'd watch that as well.
Oh, God. I don't know. Yeah, okay. Right, I think we've done with Perez.
Probably to round off the review is touch on George.
George.
Points being
the
so
jungle,
close.
watch out for that barrier.
Yeah. Under safety car, completely lost it. Points eludes him again.
I feel really sorry for George because it's a driver error. But every week he has to drive that Williams out of its skin just to be slightly less uncompetitive.
Yeah.
And then he's got this probably nagging feeling in the back of his head, like, I'm good enough for points. I've seen Albon get a podium. I've seen Norris get a podium. I think I'm better than them. Because you have to be as a racing driver. I want my I haven't even scored a single point in Formula One. I want to do it for Williams as well. Their team. I want to be the guy. I haven't yet scored a point for Williams in my time there. I want to have this. I want to have this. Opportunity comes. It's like, then obviously under safety car, it isn't just driving. I think no way does he make that mistake if he's driving. I think he comes home, secures the points.
Yeah.
The real issue is he's under safety car. It's a difficult, getting that tyre compound right at exactly the right time. And it's a real issue for him. Just like going, I've got to keep these tyres. I've got to be on it. I've got to be on it at the start. I've got to make sure I get it. This is my opportunity. I've got to get it. And, going around for another lap and like going, okay, I'm building it up and then bang into the wall. I think he's just got in his own head. That's what I feel. I've no proof of that, but I feel he got in his own head and his reaction tells me that he was thinking desperately about that point.
Yeah. When he was just slumped against the wall, waving off the marshals.
Go away. Leave me alone. Go away. Are you okay? Yes, I'm fine. But I'm not fine. So you need us to check. No, not like that. Leave me alone. I've done it again. I've stuffed it.
Did you hear Kimmy's message, the radio message? Because obviously Kimmy was behind
What
George.
did Kimmy
Yet
do?
again,
What did
Kimmy was
Kimmy
near the scene of George.
What did Kimmy say?
Well, it was more Kimmy's engineer. Because Kimmy just, his engineer was like, I can't remember if it was P10 or P9. No, it must have been P10. And he was like, one car up the road to P9 or something. Oh no, it was P11. There was one more car till points because obviously George was P10. And then he was like, whoops, the Williams just spun. And then the engineer was like, oh, nice. Yes, I've seen. That was an easy one.
Oh, no. What Kimmy said, whoops, the Williams van.
Yeah, that was Kimmy. And then his engineer was like, nice, I've just seen it. That was an easy overtake.
Yep. Did it even under safety car? That's illegal. No overtaking under safety car. George is still in the race. No. It was heartbreak for George, wasn't it? Heartbreak. I suppose heartbreak for Gasly as well. I'll touch on that for another heartbreaking. Brilliant weekend, wasn't he? Qualifying was right up there in terms of times. He would have got another podium this weekend, which again would have been fantastic. 3 podiums including a race win and an AlphaTauri / Toro Rosso. Just put that into context.
It's ridiculous.
Unbelievable. That's not. It's not just ridiculous. You couldn't write that, and that's how well Pierre Gasly has driven and stepped up.
Yeah,
it has to be said. He's even with his car retiring, his reputation is still going spiraling up, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. He's crazy. Like Lewis retires Pierre Gasly to Mercedes.
Oh no,
there would be Max, but if Max doesn't go,
why he'll be too young for Mercedes.
Would he?
Mercedes don't make the same mistakes as Red Bull. They want an experienced guy in that seat.
And they got Valtteri Bottas.
Yeah, but they want both seats filled. That's why they stuck with Valtteri and haven't put in George. They will not go for Pierre Gasly.
We'll throw that up. We'll throw that in there a little bit later when we're talking about Lewis's future. But is that roughly about ends up the Imola race review?
Yeah, we touched on Kvyat. Kvyat's great restart. Great drive from him.
No, let's talk about Kvyat because we should big up Kvyat because he doesn't get enough credit. I said it in the driver ratings. You know, he's one of those drivers, a bit like Kevin Magnussen. You know, there are just some drivers on the grid that just get looked at and they just go, they're there.
Yep, they're there.
But they're actually outstanding drivers in their own right. You know, and given the machinery and given the ability to impress, who knows?
Yeah. Kvyat for the Mercedes seat?
Experience. No, that is clutching at straws.
And then the other one is Daniel Ricciardo, P3, second podium, Shuey on the podium. Fantastic day for him.
Yeah.
Fantastic day for Renault. And now Ricciardo is looking at McLaren, who is struggling for race pace, going, yikes.
What did I do? And Fernando Alonso's like, Fernando is back. I'm back on the podium. Here we go, Fernando. I'm going to get more points. Woo!
We've said it a couple of times before. A partnership of Ricciardo and Alonso would have been immense for Renault.
Do you reckon they can talk about it now? How rock solid do you reckon that McLaren contract is? Hey, do you reckon they can do a little bit of, oh, it's null and void, and Daniel's going, sorry guys. Sorry. And then McLaren are like, Carlos is still going to Ferrari. Here, take Ocon. Oh no, not Ocon. No. No, sorry. That's really harsh on Ocon. Poor Ocon. But he would be the poor seat out of the three. Alonso, Ricciardo, and Ocon merry-go-round. It's no contest. Sorry, it's that. Maybe for Pierre to McLaren. Look at this. 2021 seats. The drama's not done yet. McLaren, Renault voids Ricciardo's contract with McLaren and he stays. Alonso, Ricciardo. They're back to the top. Whoa, here we go.
Jeez.
Wow, I didn't see that one coming in the podcast, did you? Hey?
It's not even Stephen's rumours.
Oh, it's
this
just
is fact.
Back
this
to the top, Renault. Whoa. Right, is that the review then?
I think that's it.
Okay, seems a pretty good point.
Sorry.
Whoa.
Charles Leclerc P5, decent result. doing it again in the Ferrari.
Yeah, another
Now we
one
can
goes
move
on.
on.
We picked up Charles last week.
I'm sorry.
We've got to
stand out
for maximum impact. We can't do it every
Sorry.
week, otherwise people get bored.
Charles was
You
crap.
need to let
this
it go
week.
under the weight. No, you just don't mention it.
Sorry.
Like,
Charles was
forget about
okay
Charles.
this week. No.
No, you just forget about him.
Charles
Forget
wasn't
about
in
it.
this race this week.
Yeah. And then you go, oh, wow, he was. What did he do? But later.
Next
Couple
Next
weeks
week.
time.
Because then I can apologise and go, wow, Charles was in the race last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
On with the question. Jonty's question.
Jonty question time now.
Hit me.
Whoa, it's a biggie. It's a big one. Plenty of controversy, and I already think I've got a controversial answer. So, at F1 Fanatics and at F1 Fanatics Steve.
Nice. That's me.
That's you. With the increasing likelihood that Roman Grosjean is out of F1 this season, it got me thinking, who else in the last, say, 20 years have failed to live up to their potential in F1? Easy one, Nico Hulkenberg.
Bam.
He's out. Bam. Straight. He's an easy one. You know who else?
Who else?
Fernando Alonso. Big controversy one.
I guess that's to say 2 titles at Ferrari.
Because Fernando Alonso's ability, he should be breaking the records.
Yeah.
Or him and Lewis should be damn close, because I think on driving ability, they're pretty damn close.
Yeah.
And if Lewis is on 6 to go 7, Alonso, they should have competed for more titles.
Just couldn't get the right seat at the right time.
No. So I would say he's failed to live up to potential. He's become the driver he wants, but he hasn't necessarily got the rewards for the driver that he is. That's what I mean by failed to live up to potential.
Nice.
Anyone else from you?
There's always Stoffel, who only got that 1 year.
2 years, I think.
Did he have 2 years? That it was so nothing.
I think Stoffel Van Dorn's a good one.
Because he's shown he's good in Formula E. I know Formula E is Formula E, but I feel there's talent there that was never seen because that McLaren was so horrifically bad.
Bad cars make good drivers. You know, it just doesn't give them a chance, does it? And they suddenly get written off. They're now not the flavour of the month. They get recycled, and that's why drivers have got to be careful.
Yeah,
it's it is F1 quickly recycles you if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah,
I'm going to go another old school one as we're going last 20 years, just to kind of keep it up. Juan Pablo Montoya. Good enough to win a Formula One World Championship, I think, Juan Pablo Montoya.
Yeah.
And never did. So, and when he went to McLaren from Williams, it never kind of worked. Kimi kind of got the better of him within the team. Obviously, gone on to be successful within IndyCar.
Yep.
With Team Penske. And had been successful in IndyCar, I'm pretty sure, before he full-time joined Williams in the seat.
Yeah.
So, Juan Pablo Montoya, I think, is failed to live up to his potential in F1.
What about Felipe Massa?
Massa's a difficult one.
So close yet so far.
No.
And then obviously he had the injury and he never...
That's why I find it difficult with Massa, because I think he was never the same driver afterwards.
Yeah.
So would he have lived up to potential there?
But the fact is he didn't.
And 2008, well, yeah. 2008... But other things, I suppose all the things are kind of out of their driver's control because they're never sure what the team goes. And so I suppose Massa in that context can do.
Yeah.
But, 2008, he did pretty much everything.
So close just so far.
Literally, he won the race.
Yeah.
And it was just Lewis Hamilton. Is that Clark? Oh! Gets across the line. That would have been interesting to see where Lewis's career would have gone if not winning that championship.
That wasn't Clark. Trying to think of others.
Nick Heidfeld. Never won a race. And he was pretty damn talented. He was part of that kind of German generation that was just very talented, but never probably got a top seat.
No.
So therefore, never really was in a position. But maybe he's another Checo of like the 2000s era.
2000s Checo.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. I think that's about it. I can't think of any more off the top of my head. Well, it's chucked in Stoffel, Hulkenberg, Massa, Heidfeld, and Alonso. We kind of good mix there.
I think so.
Any more recent ones?
I was going to maybe throw in Daniel Kvyat. Because he had a pretty damn impressive junior career.
But is his F1 career over?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to say anyone on the current grid because we don't know for sure if their career's over.
Okay.
I guess Hulkenberg we don't know it's over.
Yeah, true. But he still has failed up. He had 10 years in the sport and most people thought he was going to come into the sport and be a world champion.
Yeah. I guess you could say Kvyat because he lost that Red Bull seat so harshly. One race and that was it.
Yeah. That's what helmet does for you.
Yeah.
When it don't like you, you're out the door. Helmet. Marco. That was an impression of Helmet Marco because it was an impression of Helmet Marco if he was up north.
Yeah.
In England.
Nice.
To confirm, because if you're watching this from abroad, then up north might not sound like that. He sounds like he's from the Night's Watch. There you go. And he looks a bit actually from that guy, Helmut Marko, the guy from the Night's Watch who didn't like Jon Snow. Forgotten his name.
I don't know.
It's escaped me. Yeah, you kind of
Game of Thrones is over.
You kind of purge Game of Thrones from your mind after the last season.
Season 8.
You're just like, it's dead to me. But yes, right. Next question. I saw.
Agree or disagree?
Well, no.
We can't phrase it like that.
No, we're not doing
stealing.
that. It was for agree, disagree on the F1 debate show.
This is the debate of F1 show segment.
Yes. No, but go and check out the F1 debate show because they are a great channel and check out their great series, Agree or Disagree. Send there. But Rox did it and we had a discussion on this. It'd be interesting to hear your thoughts and nice to kind of put it out in public domain. She said that I think it was age 24 was her initial one. Drivers shouldn't be allowed to compete in F1 before 24. And to put some context in this, they're going, not because of ability. If it was just about ability and growth, they can obviously come in younger and develop, as you've seen guys like Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, those type of guys there. But for the mental side of things and the pressure and media and almost kind of thrown to the wolves style pen that Formula One is now.
You kind of get that in any sport, don't you?
You do, but I would say, well, let's compare F1 to IndyCar because, Rinus VeeKay and Colton Herta have a much easier time of it than Lando Norris, Max and Charles Leclerc. Like every behaviour is analysed, every behaviour is scrutinised on social media. They have to be really careful about what they say. They have to have strong affirmative opinions on key issues as it's come up against, with obviously the whole Black Lives Matter thing during the start of the season and their stance on things. Everything is heavily scrutinised. When in America, you just basically have to get the sponsor name right and when you're pronouncing.
It's a list of all the sponsors.
But they're also a bit of a family, aren't they? All the drivers are kind of in it for each other. They're really sport. And they are within sport within F1. Obviously, we saw it from Lewis Hamilton and Grosjean supporting Russell afterwards. But it feels less so in that aspect.
Yeah.
So that's the argument. Okay. I got her down to 23 in a bargain.
Negotiated
to 23. But do you think there's balls of it? Or the other side of the coin is, well, they're going to have to deal with it at some point the earlier they're exposed to it, the better they can handle it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what if the advantages are enough. What am I trying to say?
I don't know.
Is it like you're saying? Even if they come in at 23 or 24, I'll say 24. Are they just going to still crumble under the same exposure because they haven't experienced that before?
Yeah,
So
they've been in a You've been in a safety bubble for longer.
Yeah.
Or maybe you have to serve a season as a young driver as a reserve driver first. So you're not really exposed to it, but you at least have an idea.
No, but then as a reserve driver, can you still race another series? And then if you're racing another series, are you actually a reserve driver?
Maybe test driver then.
Because we've seen with Esteban Ocon, reserve driver for Mercedes, and he's come back to F1 with no performance, really.
Yeah. Okay. So that's potentially an issue.
I'm inclined to disagree with this.
Okay.
Wait, I'm inclined to... what's another word for disagree?
I'm inclined to respectfully turn down the proposal.
Yes. That.
Well, yeah, F1 is an intense spotlight. But, do we really want to stop? Max, for all his flaws, has been brilliant to watch in the last 5 years. And he really adds to the value of the sport that now, at the age of 22, we feel in the right machinery, he would be ready to challenge for a Formula 1 world title. Charles Leclerc has the responsibility of Ferrari and has been nothing short of superb, I would say, this season at the age of 22. You know, do we risk curtailing those talents? Yes, there has to be. If the issue is then kind of thinking about their well-being as people, we just put better things in place.
Exactly.
Within the sport, rather than going, we'll keep them away from it a bit, because leads on nicely to the next part of it, which is, Tomo tweeted about saying, Albon, I really hope he's got a good close knit of people around him to support him, because he's 24 and he's under as much scrutiny as you can pretty much get under at the moment.
Yeah.
But Albon's now above that age, and he's
still receiving
slaughtered. Yeah. So I don't think at any age, at any kind of thing, nothing prepares you. Maybe we just need to look at how we scrutinise drivers and stuff in terms of things. Should we really be as harsh on them as what we'd expect from our friends? Because essentially they're no different to you or me, apart from they have a profound skill in driving that we're incredibly jealous of. Because it would be very cool to be able to drive like Max Verstappen.
Pretty cool, wouldn't it?
Would be pretty damn cool. Yeah, so it's a difficult one. It is. But I'm inclined to go, I think they're okay. It's just maybe just supporting them better. Because I suppose in that thing, Pierre Gasly's treatment by Red Bull comes into it. But they've learnt as a team because they've been nothing but supporters of Alex Albon this year.
Exactly, yeah.
So, they've given Albon every opportunity, but at some stage it is, at the end of the day, a sport that there has to be some level of performance as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that rounds up that question.
Yes.
Happy with that?
So we both are respectfully choosing
to turn down The proposal.
The proposal, yes.
Access denied. Oh, but yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It is an interesting debate, and we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below as well. And I think it is a very good point raised by Rox, and just because what we say doesn't mean it's right. And good discussions are always good to have and talk about them. But we talk about the future.
Steven's Rumours!
Whoa! It's back. Steven's Rumours. Every week it's here.
It's here.
For
But they're not
Steven
really rumours.
Rumours.
They're just kind of news, but you know.
But they sound more exciting because they go rumour. Oi!
Lewis.
Should he stay or should he go?
He hasn't guaranteed. He hasn't guaranteed he'll be driving for Mercedes. Toto. He's been sounding very emotional about spending more time with his family, and he's lining up a successor. Could the dream team of Toto Lewis leave?
You decide.
You decide. Vote down below, and
Mercedes will go on whatever you vote. Maybe, probably not. No. Do we have to say definitely no, just to clear up any issues?
Okay. Definitely no.
Definitely no. Okay, Lewis Hamilton. Do you think he will go?
I reckon they'll both be in F1 next year. I bet they both see out the current aero regulations anyway. And then that gives Toto time to train up its successor. And then obviously Lewis will then leave with Toto.
Sorry for shaking the camera and kick the stand.
Because there's such a strong relationship between the two. I think Lewis would want to see go at the same time as Toto. So if Toto stays one more year, Lewis will stay one more year. If Toto says, this is it, then Lewis may go, okay, this is it. He's got his extreme racing team he can focus on. He's got his music career that he wants to focus on. He's got all these other hobbies and interests he wants to focus on. He wants a life.
I think Lewis doesn't necessarily care about the records. He's done what he wants, and people will always criticise and people will always praise.
Yeah.
You're never going to win in something as globally spanning as F1. You're never going to win all the plaudits, and you're never going to go without praise too. He's amazing what he's achieved in the sport. Would turning down an almost guaranteed 8 in the bag? Well, maybe that's why he's not too bothered. Maybe because he's like, I've got this in the bag. With all due respect to Valtteri.
Yeah.
Like, if I race next year, I break the records. And I get probably 100 poles, 100 race wins, and 8 world championships. But does that matter to Lewis Hamilton right now? Or is the wanting to make a difference, bigger difference in the world, the extreme E team, the fashion side of things, the music industry side of things, does that appeal to him more? At 36.
See, 36 now.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You never know how much time you've got left. Well, I mean, and look at Michael Schumacher. You can race your whole life in an incredibly dangerous sport, and by sod's law,
go on a holiday
and get a life-changing injury. And so that often must play into it. And while he's in F1, I imagine romantically he feel he can't be involved with anyone because there's so much of dedication and commitment to the life of F1. There aren't too many successful relationships within Formula One. Sebastian Vettel and obviously Kimi Räikkönen are the and
Vettel
had as well.
Divorced, didn't he, last year?
Vettel?
Valtteri.
Yeah, I was like, when did
Bottas had a divorce?
Yeah, Bottas had a divorce. So, it doesn't have the greatest track record going. So maybe he's at a stage of his life where he wants to go and be a parent, a dad, and type of thing. And, you could say, what's one more year to break all the titles? But, is Lewis Hamilton loves F1. He loves competing in F1. But is F1 still his main priority when he's achieved so much?
Interesting.
Don't know.
But I do think him and Toto will follow the same route.
Yeah.
I don't think Lewis will leave Mercedes without finishing his job with Toto. And I just feel like, well, to be fair, there's a break between the seasons where Toto could train his successor up. Well, not train, but prepare the successor for next season. So maybe it will be end of the line this year, which then opens the door.
Because with Mercedes, he's done the records.
Yeah.
He's now as leader of the team, the most successful team principal and head of
Toto, yes.
the most successful team in history.
Yes.
So they've already broken their record. So it's whether, and like I said, they'd give Lewis the seat, but it's whether Lewis wants to do that. And it is weird how long it's taken. Initially, it was like, this isn't the right time. But the longer it goes on, the more you kind of go...
Well, when the Valtteri deal got announced, then clearly it's not about the timing, is it?
Yeah.
Because otherwise they would have done it bam, bam.
I think if he's genuinely taken this long, there is a very real possibility that Lewis Hamilton won't be in F1 next year.
Which then opens the door to everyone else. We've got Max Verstappen. We've got Alex Albon. Okay, no, we've got Max Verstappen.
We got Pierre Gasly. Oh yeah, we got Daniel Kvyat. We got Nico Hulkenberg, German driver in a German team.
No, they went.
Oh yeah.
No.
Woo! Car's so good they can afford to.
No. Look, Mercedes need a winner, and the only winner on the current grid is Max Verstappen or Charles Leclerc, and Charles Leclerc's not leaving Ferrari.
No, and Sebastian Vettel signed up for Aston Martin, and Sebastian Vettel will suddenly be going,
damn it!
Lewis, why'd you do this to me?
That I can't see them going to other categories, like maybe a Felix da Costa. I can't see them doing that.
Can't see them bringing Stoff in.
No.
Nick De Vries?
No. Well, because look, they have Valtteri Bottas.
Esteban Gutierrez?
Valtteri Bottas isn't a driver championship winner. And so I feel like you need to bring in someone who...
But with Lewis gone, with how good the Mercedes is... Valtteri Bottas! Well, and Lewis Hamilton goes, Valtteri, you've been a great teammate for me.
I'll let you in
Go
the
on there. Have this one for the team. Thank you, Lewis.
He's still going to struggle against Max.
Well, against Max he'd lose. Yeah, sorry.
Well, no, even if Max was still in the Red Bull,
right, yeah,
he would still struggle.
Yeah, but they'd be all Team BB then.
Like, if Max hadn't had as many retirements this season, he would be second. Or very likely would be second.
Okay, yes.
But yes. They could go inexperienced, but I just feel Max Verstappen's the only sensible option for
Mercedes have proven so far in their time within return to Formula One, they do not go for inexperience.
Yes. They go for winners. And that's why they chose Valtteri Bottas. No!
Well, no, they didn't want the team aggravation that came with
Nico Rosberg. Yes. But
so
they need a winner in that seat, and the only winner available, because there is a break in that Red Bull contract clause.
And even if there wasn't, they would go, well, we've got a budget cap.
Max would still ditch Red Bull.
We got a budget cap, why not? Let's just throw money at it.
Yeah. So yeah, there we go.
That's it. That's the F1 podcast.
No, because George Russell basically confirmed for next year.
And that's it. That's the F1 podcast.
I said it last week. I was very confident. And then what happens? It's basically confirmed. Bam.
And then George
saw
would be
it
looking
coming.
as Lewis Hamilton retires.
Damn it.
Mercedes.
They could go for George. George is... Because he's
If
got...
Lewis retires, they should probably go for George.
They
for their
probably
young.
should.
But I can't see them not going for Max Verstappen if Lewis retires.
He's the only sensible option for them.
Yeah.
Because why risk it? George is a risk. Anyone outside of F1 is a
Well,
risk.
if you get Max Verstappen, you basically guarantee the driver's title.
Yes. Why the constructors?
Well, you guarantee the constructors
Because
anyway.
Red Bull aren't going to challenge.
Yeah, but you guarantee the constructors anyway.
Okay.
Because I don't think Red Bull can make the leap in difference there.
Yeah.
It would be whether Max could somehow challenge for the driver's title if Lewis leaves. But if you go and get Max with Lewis gone, bang, there you go, wrapped it up.
You also set yourself up well for the changes.
Yeah.
Because if it becomes more about drivability, you've got one of the best drivers on the grid.
Yeah, well, he would become probably the best driver on the grid with Lewis Hamilton, obviously Fernando Alonso returning to the grid. I know that'll throw a few sparks up in the air. But yeah, that's it then.
Yes, that is it.
That is it. That is the F1 podcast. We hope you've enjoyed this leisurely, relaxed chat about Formula One and lots of discussion.
Yes.
Discuss away in the comments below, and we will discuss with you if you have us. Or if you don't want to discuss in the comments down below, fair play.
Fair play.
That is your right to choose that. You do what you want to do. Don't make us lonely. And if you're new around here or haven't done so already, what can they do?
You can like, subscribe, and ding that bell.
Ding it! So for now, UF1 fans, keep racing!